Dzień dobry. Jestem Antonio. Jestem Hiszpaniem, ale mieszkam w Anglii. Nie mówię po polsku. So that's all my Polish. Cool. That's usually good to just get the nerves and everything, because I'm usually very nervous. And I'm from Spain, so I speak really fast. If it's too fast, do like that. And then hopefully I will notice you and I will slow down. If I speak too fast and you don't do that, in 20 minutes we are done. So it's your choice. So I'm a principal consultant at Contino, that is now a Cognizant company. And I'm convinced that nearly all the problems in IT are the lack of communication or bad communication. Right? Actually, I have some links with Poland because my daughter's godfather, he's Polish. So I could ask how to pronounce. And I did ask several people already yesterday and today. And I know it's not perfect, but it was close enough that you understand me. Hopefully my English is good enough for you as well. So I'm from a big family. I'm actually the youngest of 7 siblings. Anyone that are 7 siblings? Normally I don't have people, so if someone raises a hand, I would be surprised. When I was 11 years old, it was the moment that my oldest nephew was born. So I was an uncle when I was 11 years old. And actually, the difference of age with my oldest sister is 12 years old. So I'm closer in age with my nephew than my sister. The reason I'm explaining that is because for me, my nephew, he will always be the little one, even though it's the first one, and he's probably taller than me now. But it was one moment that I had a big shock in my life. I was in France, living for 9 years there, and I was lucky enough that I was on the same company as one of my sisters. What are the odds? Spanish guy in the same company as one of the sisters in Paris. And I remember one day, she came, Antonio, I have to tell you something very important today. Okay, what is it? You see Kevin? That we go for drinks from time to time with all the team? Yeah. He was born the same year as Carlos, my nephew. That was a moment of revelation for me that I'm not young anymore. I'm old because I have colleagues the same age as my nephew. Right now I have colleagues that technically I could be their father, which is not helping for the age. But that was the initial moment when I realized that it's good to share knowledge with others. And it's when I started on my career, not the public speaking, but at least being more mindful of the rest of the team. And to ensure that all my knowledge, it doesn't stop with me, right? I have different roles in my career. So I started as a junior developer, senior developer, team lead. Then I became that advisor and delivery manager, project manager. And now I'm transformation consultant. Sounds really well and nice, but no one really understands what I do for a living, right? So I'm gonna explain good things and bad things that happen to me on all of these roles. On the hope that at least the good things, you can replicate yourself, you can avoid the bad things, and then you can think about your colleagues that they might be on one of those roles. Because some of you might be junior developer now, some of you might be the team lead. Probably you are not a delivery manager. I don't think it's the target conference for delivery managers, but it's okay if you are. And definitely probably not a transformation consultant. But if you are, please talk to me later. One of the commonalities on those roles, it was a self-doubt. It was a common theme for me on all the roles. I was always self-doubting whether I'm good enough, whether I know enough, whether they will realize that I'm not that good enough. Luckily now on IT, we're more open with that kind of things. When I started, it was still a taboo to say something that about mental health or that you feel self-doubt because, oh, that's the weird one. We're going to promote the others, right? Now there are more and more people talking about mental health, talking about self-doubt, and even on technical conferences, you can have me talking about non-technical things, which is a spoiler. There is not going to be technical things. I know we all love tech, but sometimes someone needs to talk about something else. And one thing important, I know it's after lunch. I'm Spanish, so I know about the siesta. If you feel that you need to sleep, as long as you don't snore too loud, it's okay. It's your time anyway, so you decide what to do. And it's okay if you decide that this is going to be boring talk. So go to the others. That's fine, no problem, because it's your time. So let's say when I was a junior developer, I was in a small city in Spain. And it was at the time that there weren't enough developers in Madrid. So the companies, they were really, really struggling to hire people as developers in Madrid, in the capital of Spain. So they decided, one company, to open a development center in that city because there was a computer engineering university. So they hired 30, 32 of us directly from university, all junior developers. It was good. We all have that feeling of the first job, that I'm doing things that I like and they are paying me for it. That's a good feeling, right? It's like, you all remember the first pay slip? That, oh shit, I'm getting money. Wow. So maybe it was good university. And I always remember that, the first salary, right? It was a lot of learning, because at that time, hopefully it's no longer like that, university, the learning at university on that city, it wasn't great. I can tell you that they taught me Turbo Pascal 7 there. Probably some of you never ever heard about it, with good reasons. So I had to learn everything on my first job. And it was good. I love it. But there were some problems. They hired 30, 32 people, but they didn't hire any senior developer. All of us on that development center, we were all junior developers. So I didn't have that mentor or someone guiding me what is the good practices or not. So it's good because you have a lot of autonomy, because no one is telling you how to do the things in a good way or wrong way. And you have to learn a lot. But that, it was complicated, because it was several years before Stack Overflow, because I'm that old. And the first job after university, you feel that you cannot say no when they ask you to do things. Or at least I was feeling like that. And it's really difficult. And I was afraid to ask, because the others are supposed to be junior developers like me. So if I ask something, they say, but that's a stupid question. You should know that, because we are equals, right? So I was doing a lot of hours trying to catch up with things, or working a lot on things that weren't needed because I didn't ask questions. So there are a lot of things that we all know, but we never really think about it. I'm pretty sure that all of us, we know that the typical, that there is no stupid questions, so please ask. It's only stupid assumptions. We all know that. Did you apply that, actually? Because everybody tells you all the time, don't worry, if you have any question, ask me. There is no stupid questions. And each time that I say something like that, no one ever asks me. Does it happen to you? So ask. If I don't want you to ask me anything, I wouldn't even say that. I prefer if you ask me something that, even if it's trivial, but then you're going to go in the good way, and you don't lose your time, money for the company, or the patience of that senior developer because you were doing something wrong for a couple of days because you didn't ask. So that was one thing that I learned, how to ask a lot of questions till I was completely sure. The fact that I have lived in 3 different countries helped me with the excuse that I don't really understand what you're telling me with the language. Can you explain me again? And I did understand the language. It's only that I wasn't completely sure. So I was using excuse, right? And I became senior developer or team lead without even having one before. And it was when I was in France. So I was all the pressure of learning French. But it was good when you are able to teach others. I realized that for me, sometimes it's better when I saw others developing and growing their careers because I'm helping them. It's like a little bit like, well, I love basketball. So we can all try to be Marcin Gortat and do the dunks. So for the ones that know basketball. Or you can be the one who is passing the ball and letting the others to score. If you pass the ball and someone else scores, there are 2 people happy. You and the one doing it. If you are doing it yourself as a senior dev and you don't delegate, you are the only one happy. Well, probably unhappy because you are doing a lot of jobs. So share knowledge and delegate things. There were a lot of negative things, of course. The self-doubt was all the time, how can I be a good model if I never had a model, whether it was a good one or a bad one? The feeling of, I cannot say I don't know, because I'm the senior developer, I'm the tech lead. I'm supposed to be the one that knows everything. And that was still before Stack Overflow and all the help that it could be online. And it was hard for me to find time to learn because I was so busy trying to help the others, trying to find out the proper answer that I was forgetting about learning. And it was feedback. That monster, it was feedback. Remember at that time, I was really afraid of giving feedback and receiving feedback. I always thought that when someone is giving you feedback and telling you things that you don't do the right way, it's because that person doesn't like you. That was me several years ago. Now I realize that it's the opposite. If I don't like you and you are doing something wrong, I'm not going to say anything to you. Just keep doing the wrong things. Hopefully you won't be on this company anymore and I'll get rid of you. If I'm trying to tell you and teach you how to make things better, it's because I want you to succeed. I want you to be better. So when someone is giving you feedback, it's giving you a gift. So how I managed to be a senior developer or a team lead without the model? I thought, what could be the senior developer that I would have loved to have when I was a junior developer on my first job? And then I tried to be that person. And you can be that person if you're a senior developer. You can even, if you're a junior developer, you can share with your tech leads or your senior devs how they can help you, how they can be that senior developer that you need. So talk to each other. But it was still the problem of the feedback. I was, at that time, nice, trying to say, oh, don't worry, you try to do your best, it's okay, you're doing your best. And that was the worst possible that I could give feedback to someone. If they weren't getting good, you need to actually tell them in a nice way. On my last project, we decided the whole team to do one session about feedback. It's how do we want all of us to receive and give feedback? So we spent some time saying, okay, how do I like to receive feedback? I like it straight away, on the same day. I like it just at the end of the week. How I don't like it. And we all put like that. It's a simple exercise. It makes you a little bit closer. And we decided after that, actually, how we're going to be giving feedback to each other all the time. So we gave feedback straight away, sometimes after the calls, and we ensure that we have at least once a week a call about giving and receiving feedback. Because as Heather explained this morning, it's not only about give feedback. You need to be willing to receive feedback. You need to be willing to receive from your junior developers to tell you when you are things you are not doing really, really great. We started that, And just in a couple of 1 or 2 sessions, we were working exactly as a team. We were really, really close to each other. It was like a different feeling. Before is, oh, we work okay to each other. But the fact that we were sharing that, we got all of us really, really close. And I think that our relation changed in a way that it's not just someone who works with you, it's someone who shared the work with you. That's a little nuance there. It's a different feeling. And it's important for me because now, when I started as a conference speaker, I was really afraid of feedback as well. Because they were saying negative things. And I was only focusing on that. But they were right, because at least I focused to improve them. I remember they were saying, oh, really, really strong Spanish accent. He's speaking really, really fast. He's moving all the time. Now, thanks because someone gave me a gift. Now I only move on 1 meter. I don't move over there. Hopefully it's not that fast. And I try to improve my accent. Believe me, 6 years ago it was worse. But I find that usually when I give talks, even though I live in the UK, when I give the talks outside of the UK, people understand me better. You can tell me later, it's okay. One key thing, it was already mentioned this morning. I would have loved to discover this book at the beginning of my career. Probably it wasn't even written, but come on, Time Machine, why you weren't there? Because that opened my eyes, how to give feedback, how to receive it. It's not only for managers, it's for everyone. And it's how to be open as well to receive feedback. So if you're going to ask Santa about one book, and you don't have this one, it's a must read. I know it's not technical, but it's really, really important. After reading it, I feel that I can accept better what everybody is telling me. Yeah, I became delivery manager. The reason is, when I was in France, I have only one good project manager. We all remember that one that was good in our careers, right? All the others, they weren't really, really good. So we had a really big client from Spain, and I saw the opportunity. We're in France, big company from Spain. I'm going to protect my developers. I'm going to be the project manager of that. So at least they will have something that is clear. They will avoid these 2 or 3 project managers. And it was probably what I was meant to be. I started understanding the big picture, why the client are actually asking about that, how we can advise the client and say something different, and see the different point of views. Before I was so focused on my team that I wasn't understanding what other teams they were asking me to change the things that we were doing for them so they could have a wonderful code base. Now I could see the different point of views, and I love coordinate teams and coordinate people and get them to talk to each other. And it was the first time that I was feeling forward. I can say no, and people are not that pissed off with me. Only a little bit, but I was able to explain. But of course, there are negative things about being a project manager, right? Or a delivery manager. No one really likes you. You can tell me that, yeah, we like, it's nice, and this and that. No. Now one in dev, now one in ops, now one on. You have pressure from everyone, pressure from the boss, from the client, the developers. I said, come on. And at that time, I didn't even know that learn it was a word in my vocabulary. But what I tried to do, especially with some developers that they were really, really against project managers and delivery managers in my career, is to try to understand why they are there, why they are doing what they are doing, why they feel that negativity against other project managers. So we were getting even closer when they realized, oh, I was a developer before, so you tell me really on full technical jargon. Don't worry, it's not like for for business that they don't understand, tell me everything so I can understand whether it's a big problem or not. So I have one question for all of you, also to wake you up with a cat, even though maybe it's wrong picture because it's not wake up. Do you think that laziness can be a good thing? Yes or no? So yes, raise the hand. Cool. Thing is, when I was in France, I remember one ops guy. We became really close, and he said, Antonio, I hate doing the same thing twice. I have even left jobs because I was doing the same thing 3 or 4 times. I hate it. Because I'm so lazy that I don't want to even think about doing the same thing twice. So I'm always, when someone sends me a request, I'm always thinking, is anybody going to ask me the same thing this year? Yes. Okay, I'm going to script, automate, whatever. I don't want to do it twice. Oh, there is a new alert in production that just makes us the end of the world again. I don't want the same alert again. I want to ensure that this is changing. And that laziness, it was the engine to become better. It was the automation engine for him and for our company. Several years after that person left the company, I know that some of the automation that he put in place, it was still used. And a lot of scripts that that person did. So the company became better because of laziness. That sounds like a good slogan, right? Transformation consultant. Well, there was positive. I realized that it's mostly about people. Well, I realized a long time ago, but now it's even, when I go to clients, they have people problems, not technology problems. Even though a lot of people from my company, they can help them with a lot of tech stuff, it's actually how they talk to each other. I'm more aware about mental health issues. We're more open in general. I talk about mental health, imposter syndrome. When I change jobs, I always try to ensure that I gave the one talk about imposter syndrome really, really quick. And I'm sharing vulnerabilities. Because I want them to feel that they can share any vulnerability or when they are not feeling okay with the rest of their teams or even the company. I remember in one of my companies, I gave the talk about imposter syndrome. The first one who actually talked after, it was one of the vice presidents. And he did share with the whole company, when I was appointed as VP of sales, I was really scared and I was feeling like that. And I want to share with all, because even people on VP positions or CEO, they can feel like that. So sharing vulnerabilities is actually not making you weak. It's making you the strong one. You need to be really, really strong in order to share vulnerabilities with your team. Also, you need to be strong enough to be the one hearing someone telling you their vulnerabilities. You need to be willing to do that as well. But when you do that, when you are brave enough, I can tell you that the feeling is different. It's like when you have a worry. My daughter is 6 years old. She has a book about someone has a small worry and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't remember the name of the character, but it's like, I have a worry and it's getting bigger. It happens to the adults as well. The fact that you share when you are not okay, it's something that it's okay to do. So be brave and talk more about mental health. It's something very serious. And if you feel anxious with anxiety, go and take professional help. Talk to someone. If you need to remember anything, maybe talk to someone if you are feeling anxiety. Don't get it only for yourself. And I'm learning a lot. I'm adapting and I'm ensuring that I have the capacity to learn. It's not about what I learned, it's about learning to have the capacity to learn. Because everything is changing all the time. The contexts are changing. What you are doing today with your same team, maybe it's not going to be useful in 2 months with the same team on the same company. You need to adapt, right? Of course, there are negative things as a transformation consultant. I say, my friend imposter syndrome, still here with me. Probably is still today, all the time, feeling imposter syndrome. And it's the first time that I cannot tell my mom what I do for a job. She's astonished that people pay for that. I say, but they should know what to change, right? Yeah, well. I think that when I told her that I was coding and I was a junior developer, she was saying, yes, I understand, but I suspect that she was just saying yes. But now I'm pretty sure that she's even telling me, no, I don't understand. So the good thing when you have been on different roles or several years as a professional, you know that you need to reflect on your career goals. At the beginning, I wasn't thinking about my career goals. I wasn't thinking what I want to be in 2 months, in 5 months, or 1 year. So if you go to the website of Kim Scott, Radical Candor, there is a lot of about career conversation. So it's really, really important because you are the owner of your destiny. You need to ensure that you know what are the next steps that you want in your career and what you need in order to do that first step. One way that I do, we are all different. So our life story, our context is different, and it's changing all the time. So what I needed or wanted as career aspiration in my first years in Spain, I'm pretty sure it's very different now in the UK. And it's very different than when I was in France. So try to reflect about all your achievements, what you have done, what you are good at, what you want to be good at, because sometimes it's that vision of the future is, I know that I'm good at this, but I want to have a different role, so I need to learn this, this, and this. You need to align your values. You know, when someone was, now everybody say about the values of the company or things like that. On my first 10 years of career, no one ever explained to me the values of the company or what was the goal. It was just use code and that's all. We do things for the clients because they pay and that's all. Maybe I wasn't lucky, but that was a reality. It's now that is more emphasis about what's the goal and aligning your goals with the company. When I was in my 20s, I think that probably would have been okay at that time to work for a betting company because I would be more interested about learning a lot of technology, getting money, and not about what's behind, how it's going to be used. And don't get me wrong, it's okay if your values are aligned with a betting company at one moment or another. It's only that for me now, at this moment of life, I don't feel that my values would align with a lot of different companies. I'm putting the betting because it's an easy example. I remember my last client, it was a pharmacology company. And I remember the values, it was making molecules into medicine, which sounds really good, a slogan, I find. And when they hire us, say, we want to ensure that we can reduce the cost of producing the medicine, but not because we want to earn more money. We want to earn the same amount of money. We want to reduce the cost of the final customer. We want to reduce the cost of someone who has those sickness so they can pay for the medicine and it's cheaper for them. And I think it probably was one of the first times that they say, wow, that's a good value. That's a good goal for a company to reduce the cost of someone that is really, really sick so they can have the medicine. So I was really, really aligned with that. And I was feeling amazing, to be honest. So I wasn't, wow, I think it's good. Then it was really, really complicated there because there were a lot of old processes, big company, psychological safety wasn't there. No one was ever saying no to anyone, only me. And they were a little bit surprised. They said, but we're paying a lot of money for you. And then you are the one saying that, no, we shouldn't do that. And you're, yeah, but that's the reason you're paying my company that, because you don't have anyone telling you no, right? So find a company that your goals and your values are aligned. So if you want to be, I don't know, I'm a team lead or tech lead, and I want to be a VP of engineering in X years. What do I need in order to be a VP of engineering? I need these skills. I need to find also a company that the goals and values are going to be aligned. So you can plan your learning and your training in order to get the skills that you want to have in 2 years or in 5 in order to get that. So plan it. Don't say, oh, I don't know, in 5 years I will think what I want to do. That could be too late. It's better to start thinking about that, what you want in 1 year, in 2 years. I didn't do it at the beginning of my career, but I did it when I moved from team lead to delivery manager. Because I thought it would have been probably easier for me to find a job in UK as delivery manager than tech lead, because I was a little bit scared about not being good enough. Imposter syndrome. I told you that I have imposter syndrome all the time. So I spent some time trying to learn a lot of techniques about management, learning about projects, about Agile and everything. And then it was a good fit for me. I tried also to learn other things, some technical stuff, and I realized that it wasn't for me. So that helped me also to orientate my career. When I started as a speaker, it was really weird because I feel a little bit forced because a lot of people in the company was speaker. I was the only non-technical, and I was on the bench, on a consultant. So I started there, but then I realized that sharing small knowledge that I could have, it was good. And learning a lot about cultures and, well, learning how to present in Polish is probably something that I might use in the future if I come here, right? So that helped me a lot. And I learned a lot to try to become a better speaker. And the way that actually I changed job twice, and it's because they saw me giving talks, which probably maybe it was the day after a big party and they were still drunk, right? So a little bit of recap. Don't forget to ask questions. So it's don't lose time working on assumptions. Assumptions are wrong, questions are not wrong. And it happened to me. I didn't ask questions. I'll spend 2 or 3 days working on something that it was the wrong thing. So one senior dev that I had in Paris say, okay, so 2.5 days for this without asking me, okay, how much is your salary? Calculate 2.5 days. Don't tell me, but that's what you cost for not asking me in a nice way. But it was real truth. That was the cost of the company because I didn't ask that question, right? Always be the senior dev, the project manager, the tech lead that you would want to have when you were in a different role. If you are changing your career from more operations or SRE or anything, or even changing, try to be that person that you would love to have when you were learning. And share with whoever is teaching you that that's the way that I think I could learn better. Can we try to meet there in the middle? Laziness is a powerful tool for automation. Always try to think that. Even in your personal life, we don't want to do several things the same all the time, right? And it's a little bit like if you keep doing the same thing every year, it's like this morning when Heather was saying, it's 10 years of experience or 1 year of experience 10 times. So you just automate and you are doing something different the next year, right? By the way, I love that. The 1 year of experience 10 times. This morning it was great. Be brave enough to share vulnerabilities, to share when you are not okay. Especially if you have people that are looking up to you because you are the senior dev or the tech lead. The fact that someone on a high position is sharing vulnerabilities, sharing when they are not okay. Like that vice president that was sharing, he was feeling imposter syndrome for a long time because he was the feeling, I don't know why they make me vice president. That's an example. When you need to be the example. If you want your junior devs to be able to share with you when they're not okay, you need to do the same. Always keep learning. For example, yesterday, I was learning with some of the other speakers, but in Spain, we put the wedding ring on the right hand, and it's not the same on every country. It's actually very weird, the right one. A lot of countries is left one. Which one is here in Poland? It's left or right? Right. Oh, okay. So now you feel the same when you go to other, and they say, oh, why is on the right one? Yeah, because it's the right. So I asked him, oh, you have it on the right, but you are not Spanish or some Eastern Europe, so where are you from? He said, oh, from Belgium. I said, and actually in Belgium, it's very different. It's not on the whole country, it's the same. It's every village has, maybe it's on the right in one village, and 15 kilometers over there is on the left one. So I learned that. And I was happy that I learned that. But I'm happy that I learned the presentation in Polish and trying to learn small thing every day. I'm not with another speaker that I know that he's Artur Margonari. I don't know if you've ever been on a talk with him. He's just learning how to present himself in a lot of languages, a lot of instruments, and he's trying all the time because he wants to learn every day a lot of things. I want to learn, probably not as much as him, but I want to learn a little bit. So try to be that person learning a little bit. Feedback is a gift. Each time that someone is giving you feedback, don't get upset. Well, unless it's on an obnoxious aggression way, that probably the other person is a little bit, but they're still giving you the feedback. Even if they're giving it in a way that is not the best way, there is something that you could improve, right? If you don't tell anyone how to improve, they're not going to improve. And the best, for me, one of the best gifts or my motivations to work is to see people working with me becoming better. Because that means that if you are making someone working with you a better version of themselves, you're actually improving someone else. Without you helping them, maybe that person wasn't a better version of themselves the next day. And I think that's a powerful thing. Maybe also, since I became a father, I'm always, wow, she's learning a lot, how we can make that she can learn more. But we can do that with adults as well, with colleagues, right? And I don't know how many parents are here, or when you have small cousins or things like that, and you see that they are learning or doing a good thing, and they're showing you, look, now I can play like that. You are proud because they are doing that. You can be proud of your teammates. Even from that one that doesn't talk too much with you. You can be proud of that one as well, because you can make that person better. And always think on your career goals. And I know that sometimes it's very difficult when you're talking about career goals. We're always thinking, yeah, but when you need to take a decision, it's not easy sometimes. And I changed countries twice. Sometimes it's changing jobs, it's also a big decision. So one of my colleagues, I'm going to do the short version of that. She told me, one advice that I always apply, when you have to make a big decision in your life, think what's the most powerful version of yourself could do, and what the most fearful version of yourself could do. You have those two? Now you know probably which one you should take. Not the fearful one, but the one that is the most powerful one, the one that is empowering you. And I think it's a good way when you have the decisions, you do the pros and cons and everything, and then, okay, if I'm afraid, which one I do? If I feel powerful, which one I could do? Life is complicated, and as you can see, it's not always positive and negative. Unless if your life is always positive, everything that happened in your life is positive, tell me how you do it. Or better, do a talk next year and explain how to have a positive life all the time. Jackie? That one I never pronounced properly.